get into your physical. It's time to talk some this and more. We gonna talk about it all. DVD, CD, UHD, VHS, books, Blu-ray. Who knows, maybe you'll even see the laser disc today. Let's get physical. We wanna talk some physical media. Movies and TV, music and more. Come check out what we have in store. This is a media house stream. It's time for some physical media on FanZcene.
I know it was like really popular because it like won some Oscars and whatever, but
Jimmy does dance.
It's got the Mighty Ducks guy. Got that guy.
No! Yes, but no! He's not the Mighty Ducks guy! It's Emilio Estevez! We're the brand. You can never have enough physical media.
Well, hello, fellow followers, and welcome back to the Physical Media Show here on FanZcene. And with me, as always, is my partners in physical media. I would say crime, but it's not crime. But physical media.
Physical media liberation.
Liberation.
Uprising.
Yeah.
Physical media uprising.
I am AI Tom. I am happy to be here.
Hey, did Shout Factory
Everything's
get you?
going AI.
Shout Factory, did you get Tom? No.
So did I got Lionsgate. I got Shout Factory. I'm after everybody. I'm coming for you, John Connor.
Don't forget YouTube too. AI, big news on AI for YouTube too.
Already done.
Hi, how's everybody doing? Yeah, Shout Factory. What a way to really piss people off. I saw that.
It cracked me
And
up.
then they come out in defense of it, and it's like, y'all ain't helping your freaking.
Yeah. I thought about
Case
doing a
here.
video on this.
I just put in there like just shut the fuck up, basically, in so many words. Like, y'all suck now. Like, Shout Factory, this is what I got to say to you at this point, right? Like, right here, sit and spin. It's not like they're ever going to give us anything free. They blocked me from ordering and giving them money on their website because of a bad review on Review Pilot. Because they claim I was being abusive. Because I told them to choke on the extra like $3 or whatever it was they were charging me for something. Because that's the thing, is they're greedy little bastards.
You should have said choke on $10. You know, that might have been a little better.
I know, right?
They don't actually block you. Yeah.
Maybe if I actually told them to suck a cock, it wouldn't have been such an insult.
They'd be like, oh, thank you.
Oh yeah. But let's before we get into some more ranting and raving on that and see whatever else we have, let's say hi to the chat real quick.
Let's. How you guys doing?
Yes, we have FKHC 2005. He says, "Hell, how are you? What is up, Random Blad?" I said Blad. Random Brad.
Vladimir.
Brandon Blad.
Welcome, my friend. What is up, Ace Hanlon? Let's talk some horror movies. Well, there's one set of horror movies we may be talking about again tonight, so. You get that here in a little bit. What's up, Style Section says, let's go. Hallowfield, hello, my good friend. How are you? Hell to you, Brian Barth. Howdy, Doba Fett. Salute to you, Deleted Scene, Steven. What is up, Vinabite? Hell to you. Hell to you as well, Tim Hayes. Glad to have you with us. And we have Anthony Draven. Hell to you, Anthony Draven. Make sure it's got anybody else that I'm missing. And Dragonzilla, do you think Joker 2 will make $1 billion? No, I don't.
It's gonna have a harder time than the first movie, I think. I mean, there's different factors going into this.
I think if it has a good first week, if it has good word of mouth after the first weekend, yeah, I think it will.
I think it's going to turn off the fanboys, but I think it's going to gain in the Lady Gaga gay crowd. So, and I'm not even joking. Like, seriously, like
I think it's going to do good. I don't think it's going to do $1 billion, but I feel a massive bait and switch with this movie. I do. I just for
in a good way
reason,
or bad way.
Bad way. I feel this is going to be a bait and switch movie. I just for some reason
there is something in the climax or near the end that does. There's like a bit of a strange twist that a lot of the critics are saying that the audience is not going to like it. Some of the audience is saying is it's basically a movie that goes out against the fans of the first film, which I think is a horrible move to make, considering the fans of the first film were basically what made you $1 billion. I mean, what the hell are you doing?
Because it's kind of weird. They might, I guess I could see what they would do with it, but that would be dumb. This is the kind of thing where Joker 1 should have just been the Joker and no other movies attached to it. and that's
there,
it.
there should
Forever.
never
It
have
was
been a
like,
sequel.
I'd be a fan if they
I don't
wanted
know
to
too
make
many people
more,
who don't disagree with you guys. So
if they wanted to make more movies like this in terms of like this type of low budget, maybe it's taking a lot of inspiration from classic movies and making it its own thing, or like I'd like that. That'd be good. Do something like that, like the Joker.
You could probably go back to the streams of that time, because I wasn't for the film. I actually was surprised by it, had to eat some crow with my review. But after that opening weekend and my experience at the theater with it, I was one of the first people to kind of admit that this is going to be a humongous hit, and was not really all that surprised when it did what it did. Now, what surprised me was when the Batman failed on the tail end of it. But that being said, yeah, I don't know how well this one's going to do. We'll have to wait and see. We got like a month here before it comes out? Not even. I
think, like you said, I think the Lady Gaga fans are going to help it have legs. I do. Because I think this is more of a Lady Gaga movie than it is a Joaquin Phoenix movie, and I just feel like I heard you say that it's something about the ending. I just had a feeling from the moment I saw the trailer that the ending of this movie is going to piss people off, just from seeing the trailer before. I haven't read any of that, so that's
the Lady Gaga people like go out to. Do you think they'd actually come out to it?
Oh
yes.
Yeah.
Because here's something that I steal this from Script Doctor, but it's 100% correct. There's only one person in the world who can get people stop talking about Tay Tay, and that's Lady Gaga. So that being said, yeah, I think that's kind of the formula here. Like, yeah, you put people who talk Taylor Swift. Oh, what Lady Gaga? Huh? What's she doing now? You know, like she's like the modern Madonna, right? So yeah.
She's Madonna Jr. is how I kind of phrase
it. She is.
But a better actress in some ways, see, and a better singer in some others. So, like, see, that's the funny part about Madonna. Madonna, before she got the lessons, fine. After she got the lessons, horrible.
It's true. It's true. I won't deny that the Star is Born movie she made is actually a decent movie. It's actually a decent movie. Can't say it's the best of the Star is Born movies, but it's a decent movie. Brian Barth, the remake of the Shining TV version sucks, and the 2000 version of Salem Lot is not much better, so it's not very good. But hey,
I totally spaced out. We already had a remake of Salem's Lot.
Yeah, with Rob,
because that one that was sitting on the shelf is finally got picked up by a Max or whatever.
Yeah,
I saw that. But yeah, we didn't have much for announcements this week. It was really kind of thin. We had Criterion announce a couple of titles, but none of them were huge surprises, because I think most of us expected No Country for Old Men eventually here in Paris, Texas, Eastern Condors, and 8.5 are the other ones that were announced. And otherwise, we just got to look at the Galaxy Quest 4K release.
About that, yeah.
I haven't seen the full movie of that. I've seen bits and pieces, mainly the alien where they cannibalize the other part. It's like the main thing I remember from that movie. Otherwise, I don't actually think I've seen the movie.
So you gave up and you surrendered.
Well, I should probably actually give it a watch. I guess the reason why I didn't was because it mostly spoofs Star Trek, and I never really watched Star Trek, so I didn't really give it that.
Doesn't matter.
Everybody says it's still a great comedy. So
it's great. It's a great movie. Yeah.
By Grabthar's hammer, you will watch it.
The ship was this big.
Of course movie. You got a name. No, I don't.
What if you're the plucky comic relief?
Not worrying about if they get killed or not.
They just killed Guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He'll just open the airlock like that. What if they can't breathe?
What year was Galaxy Quest?
99, somewhere in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it does play better if you are a Star Trek fan, because I got the references from the Next Generation and the original series, most of the original series. But it's a great comedy as is. I mean, if you've seen it enough, you'll get it.
It's kind of like Star Trek 4. You can watch it without being a Star Trek fan.
Oh. Yeah,
I just kind of thought of this. Do you think would you say Galaxy Quest or Spaceballs is a better spoof of Star Wars or Star Trek? Like the spoof of their franchise.
The difference is see, Spaceballs is a flat out satire parody, right? Like it knows it's making fun of itself. It breaks the fourth wall constantly. Galaxy Quest, the whole idea, the whole gimmick, the whole joke is that these aliens don't realize these guys are TV stars. right? Like that's the whole thing. They think that their television shows,
meaning they take it. There's some people that take it seriously in it.
Not some people, some actual aliens from outer space. That's the whole gimmick of the movie. So you must not have seen jack shit.
Yeah,
so like the whole thing.
I've only seen
starts
the
out.
part where like, oh, he's feet. Oh,
Yeah. So the whole thing starts out is like they were just
basically
basically this group of actors who were on the show that was popular for a half a second in the 70s or whatever. Basically, is the way they set it up, or 60s or 70s or whatever. They don't. I don't even think they specify. But it's been so long since I've seen it. And then so like they're all together finally for a convention for the first time in forever. And these aliens show up from outer space to come get them for help.
and they think
Because they think their TV show is an actual documentary on their fucking exploits in space.
They in turn think that they're like other actors, some weird studio or something.
Yes, yeah, they think they're like another convention trying to get them together.
Oh, you guys are really LARPing and trying real hard, aren't you?
Exactly. Yes, that's exactly what it is. So yeah.
Next thing you're going to tell me you think Gilligan's Island was real. Oh, those poor people.
They never got off the island.
Yeah, that's so great.
So yeah, they think all our TV shows are actual documents of
so
history.
You probably put it on Galaxy Quest as like as a spoof. It not only spoofs a specific thing, but also is like an enjoyable comedy. And
yes,
like,
it's but that's the thing is it's not a literal like, you know, like, oh, we're making fun of Star Trek per se. It plays serious with the idea.
It's
right?
basically like a love letter to Star Trek. And
it is, especially the fans, right? Because that plays into the story too. Again, check it out. Completely wash your Star Trekness out of your mind and see it just as a movie, and I think you'll enjoy it. Because I just told you the concept. That's all you need to know as far as the high concept comedy part of it. Like, how funny is that? A group of actors aliens who need help think that they're the only the only chance they got. Yeah,
people.
And they're a bunch of fucking losers.
It sounds like a good premise for a movie. Yeah. So, sure.
Yeah. Barth, I would say you wasted your money because if you've never seen them, give them a watch. Maybe you will like them. You know,
which ones again?
The Shining and Salem's Lot.
Oh, I mean, look, dude, I have tons of shit that I hate just for references and other things like that. And look, you like what you like, brother.
Exactly. I mean, you may like the Shining remake that with the guy from Wings, and you may like this Rob Lowe.
I know they're closer to the book, but like for the Shining, for instance, that's one time where I will say Kubrick got it right, and that's where Stephen King that's why he's so pissy about it. And you can agree or disagree with me on that. That's totally cool. I'm not going to get mad either way, but I think the proof is in the pudding when his sequel is more of a sequel to the film and not his book.
Yeah. I mean, even Mike Flanagan, who directed the sequel, was like, he had to convince Stephen King, hey, we got to make this a sequel to the Shining movie.
As loose as it is, yeah.
Yeah.
It almost feels like a movie that's made in spite of, like they didn't have the rights. Like if you watch the movie, it's kind of weird because it works, but then it doesn't. Because if you notice, everything's just slightly off.
Yeah.
Right. It's like that 25% different.
Yep. And it's kind of boring.
Yeah. Otherwise, all we had was actually, I didn't mind Dr. Sleep. I thought it was all right. But I haven't watched the extended cut yet, I don't think. So maybe if you saw that first, that might have been the reason why. I have no idea, because I think the extended cut's like a half hour longer or something like that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Kino just announced, and these are ones we've been waiting for, we knew about for a while, so no like huge surprise here. Like Play Misty for Me, Two Mules for Sister Sarah, and what was the other Clint Eastwood one? There was another one in there. Oh, Iger Sanction, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
So Bob will be happy.
Mm-hmm. I think that's about. Was that about it? That was.
I think there was very little for the Martian Chronicles was another one from Kino. That's right.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
There was very little this week other than the Criterion ones.
Mm-hmm.
Been really Frankenstein's Terror and 3D Bloody Terror.
Oh yeah,
never seen it. Never heard of this one. So this is one I got to get because it's a Frankenstein movie.
Yeah, I was thinking about getting. I mean, I don't have 3D, but I'm sure I could still watch it regardless.
Yeah, sometimes they've been putting. I notice on some of those I get, they actually do. Excuse me, an anaglyph version too.
Yeah.
And I doubt you have it, but if you're somebody who actually has like, I mean, you probably already know this if you have it, but if you have the PS VR system, you can watch 3D movies that way too. By the way.
Oh really? I don't have it, but.
Yeah, no, I just thought. Yeah, I guess Oculus Rift you can too. I don't have that either, so I've never played with it. So. I do have the old Sony VR from PS4, but it's sitting in a box somewhere because I can't find all my. It's a pain in the ass to set up.
I was like I said, I'm not really a gamer. Like my last system was an Xbox 360, which I still have behind me. And the most games I ever play, I'll play my old Nintendo every once in a while, like Duck Hunt, Mario, and stuff. So,
PS3 is still always the best.
yeah, I remember playing the PS2 a lot though back when I was younger.
Back in my day, I played the PlayStation number 2. Back when they had at least one other.
Oh, shut up, Grandpa. We're already on the PlayStation 97.
We're on Xbox. Who'd you watch it now?
It's a virtual implant, Grandpa.
Oh, okay there. You just like a Game Boy?
No.
Everything's Nintendo by your parents. I mean, you could be PlayStation 70. It's a Nintendo.
Oh, I love my
Nintendo Mario. What?
My grandma used to call it the Nintendo Turtles, the Ninja Turtles.
Oh, yes. Nice.
You and your damn Nintendo Turtles. That's what she used to say.
Nice. Bert, what they did was Shout Factory hired a new executive who is experienced in AI for acquisitions and stuff. And then they come out saying, no, people's getting the wrong idea. We didn't hire him because he's got AI skills. That's not what we're about.
Even in their press release, it says they're going to utilize the fact that he has AI skills.
Exactly. It says it. And then they come out saying, no, we hired him because we're all about physical and using this artwork and human. And it's like, not just like Tom said, he just had them, just shut up. Just shut up. You're making it worse.
Wait, so they what? They hired a guy that used AI to do something?
They hired a guy, a new executive to help with acquisitions and stuff, who's trained in AI. And they made in their press release, they made a big deal about like, he's got AI. We're going to utilize that skill with our thing. And everybody got real like, are you serious? You're a physical media company. What do you need AI for? And
when he does acquisitions, I guess I'm curious, like what the AI part does with
naturally home media people will freak the fuck out if you put any AI anywhere near their shit because they're like, hold up, time out, get the fuck away from me, James Cameron, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah
you keep your crayons over there, Mr. Jackson. Giving Mr. Lucas all these funky ideas and shit. Now I gotta watch American Graffiti and it looks like it's smeared in Vaseline like the scene in Star Wars with the fucking land speeder.
Yeah, it looks awful. Like with acquisition, like that means he'll pick up movies, like he'll find movies that they can scan and whatever release and with his experience, that's why people get like
fortunately
with AI,
fortunately
so
I'll say this much. Fortunately, Shout doesn't do a lot of their scans. So just a heads up, folks. Unless it specifies on the cover that Shout Factory, which I don't think they have in years, to be honest with you. I'm trying to remember the last time, because all of their stuff they get is generally given to them. Now, the one that really flipped me out in the last few months has been Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, because I'm still trying to wrap my head around what the fuck happened there.
Yeah.
Because the version that's on streaming is from an old ass fucking scan, and it looks better than the 4K Blu-ray does because they smeared the shit out of it with DNR, and not a single critic out there in the actual community, as far as the bigger reviewers, I'm not going to name any names, are calling it out.
Yeah.
I don't know if Shout did this, or I have a hard time believing Amazon would have done this, because Amazon, I'll be honest with you, they have seemed to have just been scanning shit and handing it out. Like they're not really messing with it. Like their more recent scans that are coming out from MGM Amazon titles seem to be more in line with what Sony and Warner Brothers have done in the past than anybody else. Mm-hmm. So this one is an anomaly for me. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here with this? Because this cannot be from the original negative. And if it is, they've went and totally messed with it horribly. So anyway, that's just one gripe. But speaking of AI upconverts and all that kind of business, that actually brings me to a title. All right, but I didn't watch it. So this is one. Okay. This is my this week's I didn't fucking watch, but this is my warning not to buy, because I was so fucking excited when I saw this, and it turns out they're both upconverts of the Hulk TV movies.
Oh.
So I was like, yes, because even though Return of the Incredible Hulk is still stuck under the Fox license for some reason, these two shouldn't have any problems. So I was like, okay, finally somebody got out their head out of their ass and scanned them and got them out on Blu-ray like they should have, because they should have been in the fucking Hulk box set, if you ask me.
Yeah.
But no, it's just their AI up converts of the old Anchor Bay DVDs. That's all they are. So save your $40, kids. I was so fucking disappointed when I shoved these in. I was like, that's why I didn't watch them. I was like, are you kidding me? I was so geared up to watch these because I have not seen them in a while. And for those who don't know, these actually have the first live action appearances, ladies and gentlemen, of Marvel's Thor and Daredevil.
Wow.
They deserve a little bit more respect, if you ask me. See, there's
I don't think
Daredevil.
I've ever heard them being mentioned in anything.
Well, because these were TV movies that were made after the show was done.
Yeah.
Right. So they did 3 TV movies after the fact. There's the Return of the Incredible Hulk, the Trial of the Incredible Hulk, and the Death of the Incredible. Yeah, I have that too. So basically, that's what I'm thinking is this just an up convert of those. So save your $40, kids.
Keep on to this, I guess, huh? If you have this one, or you can get a hold of this set, just get this one.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't, I guess that's the alternative, but it's not worth $40 fucking dollars.
Yeah. I'm glad you told. I didn't even know that was out, or I probably would eventually have bought that. So I'm glad you're telling me that. I actually thought about watching the Death of the Incredible Hulk here not too long ago.
Yeah, I have the DVD of that, but for some reason that's owned by Fox Television because they broadcast that back in the day, or for some reason they own the rights to it. So that's just the strange stepchild of the group.
Yeah.
Although you could argue it's kind of stupid that falling from a helicopter wouldn't kill the Hulk anyway. So
yeah,
spoilers.
What?
And honestly, I think they actually had planned to do another one. I think it actually
they did before he died. Yeah,
they were planning on doing another one after that and bringing him back. So
well, I think they were even kind of testing the ground for a new show. I think was kind of the whole plan.
Yeah. You can milk more seasons out of it or something.
Well, yeah. Well, this was a decade after the show had been off the air already, but Bill Bixby went down fast with cancer, so that was what killed it. So
I gotcha. This may be a dumb question, but so when you say AI up convert, you've talked about lots of different discs and conversions having different types of issues, like with True Lies, like with Bill and Ted, with Jaws 3 and stuff. So when you say AI up convert, what does that mean they're doing with that? Is that like adding more specifics to the background, sort of like you said with Jaws 3, where a lot of the stuff was looking kind of weird?
Yes,
grains difference.
That would be the understanding, basically, is they would use, because that's what else would you use AI for? If it's using it for video, that's one thing. But even then, in a lot of cases, the way AI makes the video look, I just as soon see it in its static-y original form.
Right.
Because it just feels unnatural. There's just something about it. Like, I'm even trying to find a good, I don't know how well it'll come across on the screen. I'm trying to find somebody who did a horrible job upscaling something.
It always it affects the background more than anything too, because it's smooth when it smooths everything out, it makes everything look weird, and that's where most of those pictures come from that we show you is the people in the background, or the picture frames are all of a sudden enlarged, or the books are bigger, or the faces are weird looking in the background. You can tell that's when the AI has been used, and that's where it really affects it, I think, the most.
Okay.
And it gives things a lot of smoother edges and. Yeah, see, there's nothing I could really show on here that we'd probably be able to see outside of the pictures like we've shown before.
That's fine. That's why I was comparing it to other examples.
I mean, yeah, eventually it might get better, but that's not the point. Like the thing that's kind of where people are not understanding, where people are upset with James Cameron. It's not even so much that he used AI to clean up the movie. It's the fact that he didn't rescan the film, right? Because these are old ass scans, and that's what's bothering more consumers than anything. And that's the same thing that makes us get knee-jerky when we hear AI involved. That means you're just going to be fucking lazy. Prime example being the Hulk set I just talked about.
Yep.
There's no reason it should be released on anything but DVD if that's all you have for a master.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I guess the way I'm thinking of it is that there's probably ways that people that are smart with how they use AI could use it for specific things to help improve a disc or something, but
okay, so a good example,
I don't know if that's ever happened yet. So
is it's not available in the US, but the German, was it German or Italian? I can't remember which. A release of Masters of the Universe, I think it was German. The Play On, I think is what the name of the company is. They supposedly, And this is where I actually kind of got into a back and forth, not a bad one, but just kind of like, I don't believe you.
A discussion. Yeah, gotcha.
I'm more like, I just don't believe you. You can say all day what you want. I don't believe you. Okay. James Eatock, the guy who's actually written the Masters of the Universe books and stuff, but about the whole series, the companions and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
He does all the special features, worked on them all for the DVD releases in the US, and then he worked for him on the Play-On ones. He claims they used AI to upconvert those to Blu-ray. And when I see them, I have a hard time believing that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand why they're not just admitting they may have actually had the 35 millimeter prints to scan from. Otherwise, if they did, AI is good enough on certain... If you got a really decent, semi-decent, standard def scan of a cartoon, an animated 2D animated show from like the 80s, maybe it works because it looks really good on that. But anything else I've seen, I'm not convinced. No. The new Umbrella edition is not a new scan, but it does have special features that the old one didn't.
Yeah. I guess what I'm thinking of, like if people were to use AI in the best way possible in trying to scan or improve the quality or something, because you guys have said that like these take multiple people to do these sometimes, right? That work on these to get those right. Like let's say that they're short on staff for some reason, or there's a smaller company that can't afford to do whatever, but they're skilled in using AI to assist them to identify certain things that another person would do. Not that it's doing the job for them, like it's not doing the AI scan itself or whatever, but it's like, figuring out certain sound, because like with AI, you can use it to, if you train it right, it can be a useful tool for certain things, but you don't rely on it. Essentially, like if it was to identify something specific that they need to fix, that was a problem, and something that they want to just make sure doesn't get scrubbed or something, like an AI could be used to help with that sometimes. That's what I would think. If
they could do it in a way where AI could be used to help, yes. But that's like we're saying, that's the whole point, is like they just rather feed the whole thing through AI and just be like, oh, we're done.
Yeah, because that's lazy if they're just doing the whole
that's what it is.
Insane.
I don't think that fans would have a problem. Let's say, let's say you got a scan of a film where you got like 90% of the negative, and you're trying to you're doing maybe an extended cut, and all you've got is like maybe a release print or a really low quality, laser disc or something really bad to work from. For those specific shots, I don't think some people would have too much of a problem with them doing an AI upconvert to try and help match it. But in most cases, most video files, people will just be like, just leave it alone. Just put it in as is. Right? We understand. Right?
Yeah.
No, because the whole idea of when they run these AI systems, or the NEAT, which is kind of like an AI thing too, which is something we've talked about in the past, and some of these other things that they use, is that they'll just do like a straight scan, like Greg said, of the entire film, or like you just said, Rook, of the entire film, and not really go in scene by scene, shot by shot, or anything like that, and really make sure everything's the way it should be, because they're just shoving it through an assembly line, and they're just like, yep, next one, same settings as the last one.
Yep.
And that's the thing, is that some of us people are trying to explain to everybody is, yes, we know different movies are going to look different on 4K than other films will. That's not what we're talking about. And that's what I hate about some of the people in the industry, or some of the people that are more, what you would consider reviewers or whatever in the community that are more respected by the studios and stuff, is either they're running interference for, or they're kind of obfuscating the whole point, right? Is that we want the best quality scans to look as close as they can to the original theatrical releases, or what the original intended look was. We don't mind tweaks and enhancements as long as the original version's available, if it's not unless it's something that really doesn't distract, right? So it's just a matter of give us, because my point has always been, and to kind of wrap this up, is just that these are probably the last versions we're ever going to get of most of these movies and TV shows. So going into the next 100, 200 years or whatever, these are all going to be memory banked, right?
Yep.
And this is the version that they're going to get, and I don't like that.
Right, like they're not going to make the copies that they printed 10 years ago, they'll make these copies.
Yeah.
For any time, if they ever do make copies anymore.
Same thing with the theatrical. Like when you that's where people are talking about Terminator now in theaters because they went to see the anniversary edition and they're realizing it's James Cameron's new AI upconvert, whatever you want to call it, of the movie. I do believe it's a newer 4K scan. That at least helps. So people have been saying this one doesn't have the anomalies the other one does, so the AI didn't have to work its hardcore overtime. But they say it still looks smoother than a baby's ass, basically. So
yeah. And it's pretty sad too because the last Blu-ray of the Terminator was actually a 4K scan before, and it was pretty good the way it was.
My thinking is that's going to be the one that everybody's going to hang on to, like Terminator 2, the same difference, the one just before.
See,
I'm hanging on to it because I got it, and it looked pretty damn good the last time it was.
I got like 3 copies of T2, and I got like 2 copies of plus the DVDs, 3 copies of Terminator 1, I believe.
Yeah.
See, I feel like this is a problem with marketing that a lot of studios might not understand with some things because, like, they released like a Terminator animated show on Netflix, right? Like a whatever one they did. They should be using that to push the movies that they have as well. And like if they, like they're showing them in theaters for an anniversary, if they're having new versions of the DVDs coming out, or I know it's whatever versions, I'm saying disc, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like they could, that'd be a way to like incorporate streaming with also supporting physical media. Like, wow, we got this cool new show on Netflix you can watch, but also don't forget to get your physical copies of this stuff.
You know what would be a good way is they released a show on a disc after it's played, instead of just leaving it up and then letting it be forgotten.
Or this would even be an extra like trippy method. Maybe I don't know if they would ever do this, or if they did this in the past. I actually don't remember if they did this when streaming was becoming more popular. If they released a show on disc first, and then later have it on streaming. Like, okay, wow, you can have access and first you can watch the show early if you get it on disc.
That was the model they did years ago.
Get that, and then you can watch it later, like a year later or months later, or whatever, on streaming. It'll be available to watch on a streaming service. But if you want to get it now, you can get it like way ahead of time and have your own physical copy.
What you're describing is the original home video market and what led streaming to be streaming, because yes, the shows and the movies would come out on disc first, and then they would stream or go digitally when it was in infancy. Now,
that seems like a genius strategy.
It was. People were making money.
It's the best
now it's all streaming immediately with no disc. So,
do you realize that they have decided to bypass no less than like 4 windows of opportunity with movies now? I don't know if we've ever told you guys this before. I think
you've touched on it. I don't know if that's been like a whole topic.
But yeah, for a movie used to be is it would come out in theaters. Its general run was about 6 months to a year, depending on how popular the film was. After that first 6-month run, it would go to home video, generally within a 6 to 8 month window, depending on the movie again. All depends. Then you had that first window, which was your home video, and you also had video on demand at that time, which was called pay-per-view, right? Basically, most of the time run through local cables. It was very popular in hotels. Like I remember watching Terminator 2 actually in a hotel like just before it came out on video, right? Yeah, so they like had like pay-per-views like that and places like that. So like you had those kind of special things, and so that was your first window, right? Then your second window was your sell-through market and your HBOs and your Showtimes and whatever, depending on who you sold to. And those could be, again, another nice nugget in your pocket, right? Unless a movie came out sell-through initially, but even then, that was still some good money because the movie already made its bank back, and now you're just printing money for it. Like Batman's a great example, or, more recently, we haven't had sell-through movies because everything comes out, but like most Disney movies back in the day would come out sell-through, for instance.
Yeah.
But anyhow, then after that window, you would have your 2-year window, which would generally mean your network broadcast, and that was a nice payday. That's usually the fat payday where everybody would get paid that was involved. Mm-hmm. And then
network broadcast is a fancy way of saying on TV, right? Like on cable.
Basically, but it's special because it's like CBS, ABC, Fox, and this is when they would have tonight on the ABC Sunday night movie, the network premiere of Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
you know, like so the
gather
first
around
time
you.
ever.
a lot of attention to those specific.
Well,
channels.
and you got to realize back then, a lot of fucking people watched these on TV, Rook. Like, you don't understand. Like, everybody, like, the next morning was like, did y'all watch Ghostbusters? Well, duh. Like,
Yeah.
Well, Gremlins was on last night. I fucking watched that too. Yeah, listen, you know, like, whatever. You know, like, Police Academy was this week. Karate Kid was next week. You know, like, we all knew what movies were on, and there was like 3 nights a week, basically, between the networks, or 4 nights a week, where there was only like 1 or 2 nights where they would butt up against each other, and that was Sunday nights usually, and you'd have to make a choice. It's like, am I recording Karate Kid and watching, you know, fucking Goonies, or am I recording Goonies and watching Karate Kid?
Exactly. Hey,
so
speaking of which,
nice
shirt. Yeah,
I like that
nice.
shirt. So yeah, let's get past all this because now we drug it out longer than we should have.
Sorry,
But yeah, so I cannot recommend this for those who are wondering what the fuck we're talking about. So this is a foreign release. It's not region locked, but it doesn't matter. So, and I didn't even check the DVDs to see if the DVDs were the same upconvert, because there is 2 DVDs in here too. And I think all the bonus features are the same thing that are just on the Anchor Bay release that you have there and I have as well. Yeah. So yeah, don't buy that, kids. I'm sorry.
No, well, it's
hoping
good
to have some. That was kind of what I was holding off for. It was going to be like a nice surprise, and then the surprise was on me.
That's I hate when it happens.
You got surprised.
But we do have a $2 super chat from Snowdub. What's up, Snowdub? He says, "Good to see Rookie getting more movies watched."
Finally.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I got an update because Snowdub you and Snowdub were like the first people that got me.
And then there was one more layer I forgot, and that is the syndication and cable network. Yeah, right. So then you go from there to like where it would just get thrown out to local channels, and it would show on USA and TBS and TNT over and over and over and over and over and over.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's where I'd catch some of these here and there. Yeah, like TNT and stuff.
Like I swear there was a while on TNT where you could turn it on and you were guaranteed a 50-50 shot of either Jaws or Lord of the Rings being on. One of the two.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Big time. Yeah, no, Snowdub. Yeah, so update. I have seen the first 4 Elm Street movies and the first 5 Friday the 13th movies. And I'm making my way on a lot of other horror stuff going on.
Well, that could probably send us right into our first pick, huh?
Oh, yeah. Well, hold on. I want to, for Snowdubs, and since we just talked to Hawk.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. But since we talked to Hawk and Snowdub gave us $2, here you go. I had to. But yeah, do you want to do that as our first pick, or
might as well get it out of the way since last Friday was Friday the 13th. And I dug out the 4K again, and so did you, right?
No, I don't have the 4K.
Oh, you don't have the 4K. No. Okay, you have the Shout Factory version.
I have the Shout Factory version.
Almost as good.
But I actually, real quick, this is what I brought. I'll show you real quick, and I got.
Oh, nice.
I have the VHS versions.
I used to have those.
Yeah, so I have all of them, the originals. So yeah, but I did watch them, so I did watch them. And Part 6 was like the big thing I wanted to get to. So Part 6 is the one I brought on Blu-ray.
I don't have my like normal light that I have here, but I've got the.
Oh, nice sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did watch the first part of Crystal Lake Memories for part 1, because what I did is a commentary on the first movie. So
I know. I wish I could have joined you on that.
Yeah, I was asked you, and I last minute, but sorry about that.
It's okay. But no, okay, we'll get into it. But Rook, you watched Part 5. What was your thoughts on Part 5 since you've been going through them, and then we'll get to our thoughts on all of ours. What we watched.
Going through them, not as good as Part 4, personally. It's
wow, color me surprised.
Yeah, it was honestly kind of boring. I was kind of like, this was one that definitely I was like,
this is the one that people hate usually. Like,
I was just kind of meandering around while people get killed. I'm just like,
this is one everybody says the tits are good in it, but that's about it.
Yeah. Exactly, that's my thought. I was in
couple interesting kills, but outside of that, the ending's like a big fuck you.
I was like, is he like? Why is he like obsessed with the eye area in this? He got like 3 or 4 kills like around to do with their eyes, and like stabbed the one chick in the eyes, and then like
it wasn't Jason.
Oh.
So
well, yeah, but it's like they also have him be mute like Jason and be kind of as big as Jason ish.
Well, he's basically
he's not. I don't know if
he's trying to make everybody think that Jason's there. That's why.
Right, but how would he know like how his mannerisms and how he is?
Very good question.
That's what I was wondering. So I'm like, I don't know.
Considering not very many people have lived to see and tell the tale. In fact, I think that's the exact line of the opening of part 2.
Like, if anything, if anything, I would think he'd be like
good old Roy.
This would be the perfect one to show him like shuffling behind trees and like doing funny things that you think this big guy, like, how does he do that? And it's like in this one, he's trying to copy it, but he can't really as good because you can't teleport literally like Jason can.
Well, they could have went anywhere with this because it's literally called the new chapter,
new beginning,
new
beginning or whatever, yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, so my first thoughts were, wasn't his mask destroyed? Like, is the dream implied to have actually happened? And then it's like, no. Well, we get to the end, and that's not what happened. Of course, that it was was it the paramedic? I must have blinked. Was it the paramedic?
It's the paramedic from earlier in the movie,
and like the father of the kid who got killed. The fact,
and they never explain why the kid's in there and why he just doesn't take care of his own son. It's like, if you really give that much of a shit about your kid. It's not like your kid's completely retarded. Pardon my French.
He's annoying.
I mean, you see in the movie, he's just annoying. Yeah,
he's annoying. Like, he's an annoying fat guy, but that's it. There's no real.
And then Vic kills him over a fucking candy bar.
Well, honestly, most of them.
It was the damn enchiladas. That's all it was.
Most of them seemed like okay with some issues.
Ooh, those damn enchiladas.
The guy who killed them, I feel, it was just. I don't know what they're going with that. He's just angry.
Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I mean, I like that they wanted to put our survivor of the last one, the boy, and have him have some mental problems with it. I think that's a good way to go with that character, but they didn't really do anything with it. He's thinking about Jason, and that's like all we get from that. There's no real like introspection. It wasn't like you don't do normal movie things where you like progress the character throughout the movie, have him experience things throughout it that have him think a certain way toward the end. He's just kind of around until he's at the end and goes a little more crazy. I don't know. I was kind of confused on what the direction was.
I'll tell you this much. Don't worry about it. Yeah, Tommy comes back.
This will be irrelevant next movie, huh?
Yeah, Tommy's in the 6th movie. Different actor playing him. There's loose connections.
But they acknowledge enough, yeah.
They acknowledge enough in the beginning, especially with the truck he's driving. So, but
and then he's still technically. I think the 2 guys come from the
camp where they're mental.
The mental.
Yeah.
But
that's about it.
Right.
So basically, part 6 begins to make things right.
Okay. Yeah. Part 5. It's again not a horrible. There's a couple of ideas here that I'm like, all right, but then like also the hillbilly, like the son and the mom, I was kind of like, okay, so they're gonna like subvert a little, I think, or we're gonna think one thing and then something else is gonna happen, and maybe like I don't know, but nope, they just gets in a fight with Tommy and then they get killed. I was just like, wow, this was like almost as unceremonious as the handicap like wheelchair guy. I was like, oh, it's just you just kind of got killed.
Which is weird that you say that because that's like a lot of people, one of their favorite.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that one's a better. That one's a better kill, but like that one, I was.
I know. I just cringe every time you say that. I'm like,
okay.
It's like everybody knows that killing.
That is one of the most famous ones. Like, him going backwards down the fucking stairs. Like, everybody loves that.
It's better than like the kills in this one. Like I don't know. There's a couple that was like
fair, but I mean, I'm just saying, at that point that was like just one of the more memorable ones, basically.
Right. But go ahead.
No, I was gonna say if you're looking for a kill where the guy in a wheelchair, just watch the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But this the one in Friday 13th.
Oh, that fucking guy.
Yeah, it's one that actually deserves it.
You're just at that point of the movie, you're just like, somebody kill him! Like, everybody turns into fucking Jim Carrey and Dumb and Dumber in that movie after a while. Just like, God, I've never hated anybody in a wheelchair so much! Just want somebody to just shove him off the screen and never come back! Fuck.
But,
have you ever seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
That's on my list, but I'll watch Halloween.
Yeah, you'll
before I watch
see. You'll
Texas
see.
Chainsaw.
No, Halloween is much better.
gotta
Like
watch
Texas
Halloween
Chainsaw
and
is
then
good, but like it has some of the worst like characters to follow as far as like I can't even remember that kid's name. That's how annoying he is. It's just I get to a point where it's like that's why I like the sequel better because at least the people that are in it are more memorable and likable.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
That's Dennis Hopper. I mean,
Yeah, especially with Dennis like Dennis Hopper going full Dennis Hopper is worth every penny. Right. So that's,
But yeah,
I'm gonna need 2 of these, just like whatever. Fuck yeah, dude. Go after him.
Yeah, so it was weird to me because like with the way that Tommy was presented as like the kid in the 4th movie, I was thinking that maybe like him killing Jason would like I thought he was gonna be like making movies or something, and then like that is a influence on his movies. And
So
a lot of people
what do you
like
feel
his
about
movies.
the time jump where they have him as a young kid in the beginning as Corey Feldman and then they jump him up to an adult?
Yeah.
I don't understand what they wanted us to think. I just thought, well, I guess this is a dream. I don't know. Like,
well, it was a way that they could have Corey Feldman in the movie because he's initially supposed to be in the movie. But he was shooting another film at that time, and he's like, "Fuck you! I'm shooting Spielberg's movie later."
I feel like it might have benefited if there was more flashbacks or if there's
they
more
literally
time with
shot
him.
that opening scene in his backyard.
Oh,
I shit you not.
Okay, wow.
With a rain machine and some lights flashing. And a guy dressed like Jason. That's all they did. Yeah, for like one day and an afternoon on a Sunday.
That was. I guess that scene was more comedic to me. It was stupid because it's like, oh, he's just going to see Jason's grave that somebody made him a grave and a gravestone and buried him there, and that's where he is now. And then he's just going to check on it some night. And
they
then,
should have called back to it in part 6, actually.
And then some other guys come around. Oh, let's go dig up the grave and take a look at this guy. Oh. And then they do, and it's like, oh, he's got his machete, and he's just like he just wakes up and kills them. Just like.
They should have reused that at the beginning of part 6, actually, in my opinion. And I forgot to ask Tom about this when I talked to him. I was going to say something to him about it, and I totally spaced it out years ago. But I always thought it would have been smarter because what you're saying is, like, to me, it would have made more sense that he was continually having this repetitive dream where he keeps going to Jason's grave and somebody digs him up because Jason's not really dead. So that would explain why he has this obsession in the beginning of part 6, as you'll see. To go do what he's gonna do.
Yeah, well, I could see him having like a fear of this or like something that's at the back of his mind. But I feel like what they could have done with the character is have him be living an okay life, but he cannot sleep. Like he pushes the thoughts of Jason to the back of his mind, but it manifests in his dreams. Like he. Like
well, I think it's more so the idea that he's not dead.
This.
He keeps thinking that Jason's not dead, and that's what's playing with his fear.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm going to get at. Like because he's just known to sort of be like when he even killed him, he seems to be this unkillable thing that just keeps on coming back. The history with that, like this guy, there's something about him that is just I don't know. Will he come out of? Will he be there? Will his body be there next time? Like will he eventually come out? And what will happen? Who? Like he's not easy to kill. Like I don't know. Like some things like that do seem interesting. Having not seen 6, I don't know what exactly they do. So
yeah, I think you're going to really, really dig 6. But like everything that most of just went on in part 5, pretty much gone. Like I said, other than a few things that they set up in the beginning of the movie to let you know that it's still that shit's probably happened, but we're going to ignore it. So
yeah,
Tommy. So, but other than maybe he's a little, it's a different actor too. Tom Matthews.
See, and that's why I respected old school Hollywood because they could at least go, you know what, we fucked up. Here, we're gonna make it up to you.
Yeah, this is the movie you should have got for part 5.
Same thing with Nightmare on Elm Street, right? Halloween 4, same kind of thing. Like, look, we fucked up. All right, here you go. They tried with Jaws: The Revenge, failed horribly. But I'll give him credit for trying.
Yeah.
It's like, what? I mean, I guess they accomplished the goal of making 3 better.
but not like number. So Friday number 5 is what I feared the entire Friday the 13th saga would be. It's just like guy
I can understand
kills
that, dude.
People, and that is what it all is. Because I was so bored. I'm just like, we're just watching people get killed randomly, but they also don't even have the balls to like kill the kid that was there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's just like,
here's the thing with this, Rook. Growing up, this was the one Friday the 13th movie until Jason Goes to Hell that got all the ire of the fans. Like everybody unanimously, like there was a few movies where you could come up with like, what's the worst Nightmare on Elm Street movie? Generally, most people would spout off 2 or 5, right?
Yeah.
If everybody go, well, what's the worst Friday the 13th movie? Everybody would say 5, right?
Yeah.
What's the worst Halloween movie? Everybody would say 5.
Yeah.
It was almost uniformly like everybody across the board. Nobody would argue about it. Even Child's Play. Even though most people like 3, they could still agree that at that time, up until Seed of Chucky, which now has overtaken that, everybody be like, yeah, 3 was the worst one. Now everybody's Seed of Chucky.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like Seed of Chucky. So like I've come to this point where I've come to peace with 5, right? And I found appreciations in 5, and I think, Greg, you're probably in the same place I am now with this movie, where I can laugh at this movie in hindsight. I enjoy the fact that they had a porn director making the movie.
Yeah. I mean, once you know a little bit about it and everything, and you could have a little fun with it. Plus,
you can have some fun with it, but no, I totally understand where you're coming from, Rook, and I don't think anybody is going to give you a hard time for not liking this one. But I do love bringing this one up as an example of whenever people go, you know, the black people always die at first in every horror movie. I'm like, bullshit. Because first of all, give me 5 examples, please. I'll wait. Because we'll be here for a while. Because I'll give you 5 examples where it doesn't happen first. And secondly, I'll give you even more examples where there is a black person, and 9 times out of 10, they either survive, point for this movie, and or are not the first person, nearly the last people to die, another point for this movie. And they actually get a bonus point for actually having fucking black people in them. Because that's the first point I always make to everybody. It's like, okay, you want to make a big point about racism in horror movies? How about the simple fact that, no, it's not the black guy or black woman that always gets killed first. Scream perpetuated that fucking thing, and that was Scream 2 that did that for some fucking reason.
Yeah.
No. How about you make up the point that there's hardly ever any black people in slasher films? Go back and look. You can almost name the most famous, because Reggie and fucking Kincaid, fucking Candyman, fucking
and the movie Night of the Demons, the black guy lives always.
Night of Living Dead. Yeah. Other than that, like really, you're stretching. You know, what's his face from Dawn of the Dead and stuff like that. But otherwise, you're stretching, and he survives. Another example. So you're stretching to find even characters, let alone ones that die, right? And I'll even argue Friday the 13th part. Actually, the few times that black people do show up on Friday the 13th, they get pretty well respected, especially this film and in the 8th film with the boxing bit, because he's one of the only fucking people who ever went around toe to toe with Jason fucking Voorhees. Even though he didn't survive, he lasted a hell of a lot longer than anybody else.
In number 3, the random biker gang guy saved the final girl. Otherwise,
exactly. There you go. Is another example. Thank you.
He was basically killed in another scene, but they're like, no, he comes back to life and saves the final girl real quick. So.
I hate that stereotype. I hate perpetuating that shit. And then you got People Under the Stairs, which is another great example. Thank you, Hollowfield. Because that was Wes Craven going, guess what? Black people watch horror movies.
Yep.
Because he found out that a lot of people loved Freddy Krueger, especially black people.
Yeah.
and he likes them.
No, he's not. We didn't think this way in the 80s and 90s. This kind of shit just wasn't. It was like, oh, okay, well, I'll make a movie that's why we got People Under the Stairs and Tales from the Hood and, you know, a few other black bent horror films.
While I was watching this, I was thinking of like when this came out, and then I was like, well, Jaws came out around, you know, like Jaws would have been out around this time, right? By Friday the 13th 5, and they had a kid get killed in that one. That's what I was thinking. Like, to be honest, did they have kids killed in movies back then?
Yeah, once in a while, but not often was it children. And usually if they used a child's death,
I wouldn't think they'd show it on screen.
For dramatic purposes, or they would, like, Jason was one of the closest to actually kind of like, one of the first times, unless it's just referred back to, right? Like, like a brother or a sister or a kid, but they always talk about it, they don't show it. You know, like that's generally the case.
I was not saying like in Jaws, they don't show the kid get eaten, but
they could show enough. That was actually pretty.
They show he's missing. Like,
have you seen the Blob?
I've seen what?
The remake of the Blob?
Yeah, I love that one. I told you guys
that one's one of the ones that does go a little brutal,
where the kid gets sucked down as well. That was like Wow, that was shocking.
Jaws is actually one of the rare exceptions, and I don't know the last time you watched Jaws, dude, because you see quite a bit in that movie, even though they cut most of it out.
The first time I did a watch along on the channel, I don't remember if you were there. I know Justin was and a couple other people, but that was the first time I saw Jaws. Was like early.
Okay, so you see the
channel.
kid go down, you see him getting surrounded by blood, and then you see in the wide angle shot, you see him flopping around like this. There was more to that shot. There's more to the shot where the shark actually comes up, chomps on him, and blood explodes. But the MPAA made him cut. No, they made him cut that part out.
Yeah, they made cut it out. Yeah.
But what's fucked up about that is I was like, well, it probably wouldn't really be like that anyway. Until I actually saw an actual shark attack, and I'm like, holy shit. Was Steven Spielberg more right than he thought? Probably. Because when that guy, because I don't know if you guys saw that horrific video from last summer, I think it was, where that guy was swimming and he, like an idiot, they're not supposed to be swimming there, and his family, all he could do is just videotape him being eaten to death by a fucking shark.
Oh God.
Yeah, and at the end, like near the end, when he's finally getting pulled down near the, like, you know, when he's done for, just a fucking explosion of blood.
Oh,
I was like, holy shit.
Oh, that's crazy.
My God. And it was really probably just the shark flipping around and taking him under, right? And then his tail whipping the blood in the air.
Yeah, not actually.
It's probably what it was. But yeah, it's what it looked like, was just a literal fucking explosion of blood, right? Because the guy was just screaming and hollering and getting dunked under like we see in movies all the time.
Yeah.
You know, just the most horrific screams you can think of it. I mean, it is gut-wrenching watching the video, but then all of a sudden, like I said, it was just like nothing, and then like quiet, and then an explosion of blood. And you're just like, holy shit. Anyway, back to Friday the 13th. Yeah, I'm not surprised you didn't, but the first film's still a classic.
Yeah.
Watching it this time, I watched it with a little more critical eye, just because I knew I was doing my commentary. But what's fucked up about this 4K look, a lot of people say that it's too dark or something. I don't know what people are talking about. The blacks are nice and rich and black. The colors pop real nice. One of the better scans I've seen. The only fucking problem I have with this is they forgot the flashes.
Yeah, the white.
I don't know how the fuck they forgot that. And it's even on the digital versions, because that's the version I used to do my commentary this week.
Yeah, I guess because that's the one Paramount's giving out, right?
Yeah, it's the Paramount. I don't know why they haven't fixed it. Even they could have quietly fixed it on digital and not said shit to anybody. Yeah. Right? Yeah. I just hope they get the second one right.
Well, yeah, you'll have to find out when you get that set or import it. No, I still love the first movie. I still think the first one's a classic. I know, you know, we get to the Jason. Everybody loves Jason.
Oh, what I was saying is you could have cut about a good 10-15 minutes out of this movie was what I was going to say. Because you literally have a scene where what's-her-face is just making coffee or some shit, and it's like, oh, God, this is going on for like 3 minutes.
Is that part of them trying to build suspense? Like, oh, is something happening now? No.
And you're sitting there going, you know, Sean's going, look, we got to fill this out. We need to at least make sure we hit over an hour and 5 minutes.
You got to have it over an hour for it to be.
Why don't you just go make some coffee?
We'll keep the camera rolling. You go to the bathroom.
Well, and that just goes to show you that Sean is not a horror director, right? He's just a director. He did it, as we brought up last week, so we don't really need to dive too deep into it because we already talked so much about it extensively last week.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, Sean did this all as basically just a way of getting out of debt, because he was in the middle of making a couple of ripoffs of the Bad News Bears franchise, and one of them, Manny's Orphans, was in the process of possibly getting picked up, I believe, by NBC. So they had acquired the movie, but they hadn't done the deal yet. So they were just sitting there in limbo, and he had all his, his investors knocking on his door and ringing his phone constantly going, where's our money, motherfucker? You know? And so in the meantime, he's like, well, I got to pay these people, so I'm going to just do this quick pot boiler fucking B movie that I had this kind of notion for, and have my buddy Victor Miller write it, and we'll go shoot it in a couple weeks for $500,000. And that's what became Friday the 13th. He had never had any designs. Sean never planned on that being any kind of franchise. The whole scare at the end was more of a, like I said, everybody who comes up with whoever came up with it, it always goes back to Carrie. So it was more or less just a final scare like Carrie. It had nothing to do with setting up any kind of sequels or anything like that. And just Friday the 13th just happened to be one of those rare rip-offs. And they didn't even pretend they weren't really trying to be a rip-off of Halloween.
right.
ripoffs in the wake of that actually kind of rose above the rest.
Yeah.
Because it just happened to be Sean is a competent director.
Yep.
He's been doing it for, at that point, I think over a decade, and he directed a few movies, and if you see his other work, he is a very competent director. It's just horror is not his forte. It's not his niche. That's why he even said in one of his interviews, he's like, I kept getting offers for horror movies after, we worked on Last House on the Left and shit. And I would just keep telling him, go to Wes. Like Wes is the horror guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I always think he got really jealous at the fact that they took that movie and made Jason such a big iconic.
Jason.
Yeah, he hates the hockey mask. He hates the machete. He hates Jason. He never wanted him in the sequel. Like, are you fucking
I bet
kidding
he hates
me?
him more now than he ever did before.
Yeah, and I think that idea of Jason outlasting his movie is what really pisses him off.
Well, that, and I don't think he tied himself enough in. I mean, I'm sure he made a little bit of money off him, but I know that was the big reason why he came back for the Jason Goes to Hell deals. They even made it like it was a big deal that he quote unquote came back, because I think that when Paramount bought it outright from him, that they bought up all the sequel rights and shit. So that's why I don't think he got jack shit. For anything past the first movie or two or three. Yeah. So that's where I know he got pissed about Jason, first of all. So like when you and I have talked to certain people and parties that have, I don't know if they brought it up specifically to you, but they did to me about the whole thing. So I'm sure they did with you too.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, but get rid of that. I don't care what you fucking do. Just get rid of the hockey mask. I'm sure he told you the same thing. Yeah.
He told me that. Yep.
Get rid of that fucking hockey mask is what he told me. Yeah.
Yep, and I'm a 20-something-year-old kid. What am I supposed to do? Tell Sean Cunningham no?
Yep. Especially when you're sitting here and you know goddamn well that's what people are coming to see.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, we're going to do this movie. I don't want to fucking hockey mask.
I never blame Adam. Like, Adam's a good dude. He's gotten so much shit. And for somebody who's gotten so much shit for that movie, he was juggling 20 different fucking things. For somebody at his age, for doing what he did, taking the chances he did, knowing what the audience really wanted, and going at it with the idea of, okay, we have seen this movie play out 20 fucking times now, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is the audience going to come to and throw them for a loop that might actually surprise them? Did he try to subvert expectations? Yes. Was it a good thing? Not necessarily, but I've always, and I said this flat out to him. I give you credit for fucking trying.
Yeah.
Because you tried something completely different in a genre that had already been well established, where you could have just come in and literally coasted, right? And had, you guys think about this for a minute. As much shit as people give Adam Marcus, he basically sacrificed his career to take a chance on this. Because he could have come in and just did another Friday the 13th movie, just like the last 8. And it probably would have made just as much money as the last 8.
Yep.
And he'd still be making modern films today, doing like, Candyman 6 and other fucking horror movies, Hellraiser 7 and other shit like that to this day, still working consistently.
Yep.
But he took a chance and took a shot, and he was in director jail for so fucking long after that, even though he was a hot and up and coming fucking writer-director. Because people forget that he actually came up with and wrote the original concept for My Boyfriend's Back. And if you know anything about what that, and the fans of that film know what that movie was originally meant to be compared to what it was. Same thing with his Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yep.
And so again, I give him the credit, and I feel like he is a true fan who tried to both juggle keeping the fans happy, the studio happy, and Sean happy.
Yeah. While also trying to do a little something different.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that
at least fed into what Sean wanted to do, but yeah.
Yeah. And I don't hate Jason Goes to Hell as much as other people, so I
don't agree with some of the things it does. I don't agree with him having a sister per se.
Exactly.
But whatever.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, there's faults to the movie. It's not a perfect movie.
Stephen Williams in that movie is fucking amazing. Like, I'm like, where's this character been the whole fucking time?
yeah, he's great. So I mean, it has good stuff to it. I enjoy it.
And I think about Jason. I think about a little girl, a little white dress, with a donut, and a hot dog.
A hot dog and a donut. I love this. I would still hope that he gets to make that movie with him one day if he ever. Gets to make that movie.
Especially if he could actually get the character, that'd be nice.
Yeah,
we're getting to the point here where. You would almost think, because I was thinking about telling him this year. I'm like, because we're on what anniversary are we coming up here on that soon? Because this year would have been the
of part of goes to hell.
Goes to Hell was his 30th anniversary, right?
Jason Goes to
So that was
Hell.
94, right?
It says 93.
So 31. So he should be about 30. At 35 years, he might be able to get the character back without any problems because he created it. But I don't know.
Yeah,
he might be attached to the Friday the 13th franchise, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's the separate. Well, he did say he was friends with the writer of the original, so he said he could maybe, if he gets the right amount of rights, he could maybe talk to him. He said, but I don't know.
That's why I wonder if it hasn't happened yet, perhaps. Because I mean, yeah, I haven't talked to him in a while, but the last time I talked to him about it, I was like, oh yeah, I really hope you get that going because that'd be a fucking amazing. I mean, just because you could, it actually is similar to a character that I've been working on for years. So if he beats me to it, it's like I almost don't have to because it's like, yeah, the whole idea is, and he doesn't just go after Jason, he just goes after things that go bump in the night, right? So like,
right, yeah, like a monster hunter, which would be awesome.
Yeah.
The Punisher, but with monsters.
Yeah. Wait till you get Jason Go to Hell. You're gonna love that character. You're gonna love him. Yeah, but I actually let the kid, my boy, watch part 6 because it's the most child friendly. Honestly, it's the most child friendly.
Yeah, it has the least amount of
no nudity, nothing. I just had to fast forward one little scene for him.
Even the swearing ain't that bad now.
Yeah, the swearing, and plus there's kids in it. You know, there's the kids in it that really help.
That's the best part of the movie. And exactly. I love Tom's idea of that too. He's like, you know, we never had any kids in this. And then the kids are the most sardonic fucking.
What did you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah, what did you want to be when you grew up?
So I let him,
and then the one kid, I can't remember what he was reading, but it was like, yeah, it's just like, there's all kinds of little things in there that he did with the kids that it's like the kids are more adult than the adults are.
Yeah, they are. They agree. So I let him watch that, and I scared the shit out of him because we watched it early in the day for him, and then he was laying on the couch watching TV, and he fell asleep watching TV. So I grabbed my Jason mask I have up on my shelf. I put it on. I stood over him because you remember when that little girl, so I stood over him and I shook him and he looked at me. He screamed his head off. I just busted out laughing and took the mask off. So it was great. It was fun. But I didn't scar him, people. He's okay. All right. This kid
can give you a frowny face for a while, though.
He's fine. He plays football. He's a good, there you go. I love it.
Nice.
I love it. Nice. Oh, you get the mask too. Oh, you get the cool. Yeah.
No, the broken mask. All right.
Nice.
I see.
I love it.
They say that he's muted, but Jason doesn't talk anyway, so that actually
don't matter. He's muted.
Actually works better. If he was talking, that would ruin it.
And you'll notice that right here where Tom's where it's like the axe chop is at the on the top of the mask. Even when Jason gets a new mask, it's still there.
Right.
It's just magically there.
Something in my teeth.
I wonder why they chose the hockey mask to be the symbol for him specifically.
I think it was just generic enough at that time and scary looking enough, and it's popped out in the dark. I think there was several reasons. I don't remember if they tried anything else or if it just so happened that was just because I'm sure what it was, like I said, it was mostly probably predicated on the stunt people going, whatever you do, get us out of that fucking sack.
Right. They wanted to be able to see what they're doing.
Yeah. And not only that, the prosthetics. So, but if you don't have the sack on and you're wearing a prosthetic, so your face is still being to wear a hockey mask. And this is where Kane Hodder really dove in with this head first, is he used the costume as more of padding and protection, right? And he's even said like that hockey mask saved his life once.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So like probably more than once, but like there's specifically like because that scene where the whole fucking when you get to part 7, you'll see the scene where this whole like porch comes crashing down on him. That's literally Kane being crushed by all that wood. Yeah. And he's like, if I wasn't wearing that mask, that's the only thing that like protected me from my face being squished. Yeah. Because my head was like, because it hits him right on the back of the head. So he had the padding there plus the mask, because it's a nice hard mask that they have for them. And it actually has space because what he has is like this padding like right here. Like, because you saw there like, like so they could build out the prosthetic. So when he's just wearing the mask, what it is like this padding outside. Then he's just got black eyes and his face is exposed. And then he puts the mask over top, so there's like maybe that much space between the mask and his face.
Yeah.
So because of that extra padding there, that's what saved his life. He said otherwise his skull probably would have been crushed.
Yeah.
And so it's for practicality.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to know how you feel about his performance because up until Kane Hodder,
I mean, the padding might not be that thick, but yeah, there's a little bit of padding there is my point. But yeah.
Up until, because like Kane Hodder, which if you don't know, he's a royalty amongst horror fans now. He takes over the role of Jason in part 7, part 7,
which is the mask I was just wearing actually.
Yeah, yes, and he played Jason on to Jason X, and he's the one because like ever till then it's just a different stunt guy in each movie, and he really took the role on and he respects the role and he brings like how Robert Englund is Freddy Krueger, Kane Hodder is Jason. He took that shit seriously, and he was like the first guy to really take it seriously, so as this monster and respect for this character. So he brings us a little something to him. I would have to say he goes right along with the guy in part 6. So Ted White in part 6 and Kane Hodder, I think, are probably two of the best Jasons there's been. So,
yeah. Right. Well, I'm actually thinking about this too now, which I didn't really think about before. So Michael and Jason are like the only mute serial killers. Is that right in these movies? And like,
well, I mean, there's more mute.
Leatherface doesn't really talk either. Yeah, he makes noises, but
grunts and squeals a little bit.
Well, I guess what I'll be thinking of at some point is who does the best, who's the best acting mute serial killer?
Well, probably Kane Hodder has taken that crown as far as like, I mean, he's the one that most fans know, right? Like, I mean, you got Snowdub in the chat. He'll be one of the first ones to say Kane probably has that crown, I would imagine. Yeah. I don't know what you guys think.
Well, I guess I was going based on like characters that don't speak, like characters overall. Like the Jason character, the Michael character, or you said Leatherface, and I don't know what other silent serial killers there are. But I guess I don't think of too many ones that don't speak. Because when I think of them, I'm thinking of Leprechaun, I'm thinking of Chucky, I'm thinking of Scream, I'm thinking of Freddy. Well, that all have a lot of quippy things to kind of say in a way. They're all kind of in on it.
There's like other minor slashers that don't talk and stuff and everything.
Hellraiser is more eloquent in his language when he speaks.
Yes. And this I meant CJ Graham.
Hello, Sydney.
Yeah. Yeah. But I meant CJ Graham from part 6 is next to Kane Hodder, I think is the next best Jason. But yeah, I mean Ghostface talks on the phone, but when he's stalking, he doesn't talk.
He doesn't typically talk in person.
Well, and I mean, I think Kane was kind of basing his Jason more on the one that we got from part 6, really. Because they're almost, a lot of people mistake that Kane is doing 6, actually.
Yeah, because like he really took what he did in the part 6 and really took onto it and latched into it, and that pretty much becomes Jason from then on out. So, yeah.
Because in part 6, Jason is just kind of having the movie happen around him, which is hilarious.
Yeah, so part 6 does have a lot of great comedy.
He's just trying to go home, and everybody keeps on getting in his way.
Well, it's just kind of like he's just because he doesn't have the rage-filled thing that he has in the first few appearances, right? He's just kind of there and stalking around, and it's really where we kind of come up with the whole zombie Jason thing, because at that point he literally is a zombie, and for the lack of a better term, and he just kind of stumbles upon a lot of people. Yeah. He's not really stalking anybody. It's just kind of, it's just, but it's like you think, it sounds like it's a bad idea, but Greg's 100% right. And that's why it's most of the fans' favorite besides 7 is because Jason is just kind of like having the movie happen around him. And I would love to see another version of this movie where you're kind of saying that, Rook, like all Jason's trying to do is get home and all these people do is keep getting in his fucking way.
Not far off from part 6, because that's really what he's trying to do.
Because nothing else is really going on. And then he sees Tommy and he's like, oh, that little fucker.
Oh yeah, I know you.
when you play the clip of Jason Takes Manhattan and he like kicks over a boombox or whatever, I'm thinking he's not. He could just kill these people, right? Like I assume Michael would or something.
That is one of the funniest bits.
People,
yeah,
but he's just like,
is,
I'm focused and trying to do something. Don't get in my way, and I won't kill you. I'm not nice. I don't have really an opinion on this, but
it's one of the few times I think most fans would argue Jason probably wouldn't do that, but it works because it's so hilarious in the film.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because like you think about it, he's got to like close doors. He's got to move things. He's trying to kill people. He throws bodies all the time and ties them up into trees and has them flop down when to scare the final girl in the first few movies all the time. Like, I don't know. It's an art, maybe. He's an artist. He's got a little brain in there, It's not a mind.
You're not wrong. I mean, I'm sure at some point he's sitting there going, God, I got to come up with a new way to kill these guys now. Shit. What did I think of last week?
I forget which part it was, but in one of them, I'm like, man, he's like an artist with these bodies. Like, when he has McFly like nailed to the door frame to like block the final girl, and like he's got like a body out there to flop down and scare. I'm like, he's like thinking, oh yeah, yes, that hit her, yeah, perfect.
Basically, nice. this is the reason why people watch these, Rook, right? I mean, this is where Ebert and Siskel and other people got the shit wrong when it came to these horror movies. We're not, yes, part of the reason we're seeing them is because of boobs, but we don't want to see the chicks get stabbed per se. What we want to see is what interesting, cool special effect they're going to come up with this time, and we know damn well that they can't continue to keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. So that's where by the time you get to 5, 6, 7, 8 of these films, you're 100% right. The kills get so elaborate and amusing, right? Like they basically are the attraction. It almost becomes like where you go to see your favorite bands, right? Like sure, you're going to see your favorite greatest hits, but you like the surprises sometimes they throw in there. What are you going to do this time that was different than the last time I saw you in concert, right? I mean, so it's like, I'm sure there's a better analogy than that. But anyway, point being is like, yeah, that's the whole point of these movies is how did they do that? What are they going to do this time? And yeah, if the characters are likable, sure, you might find somebody to cheer for. But otherwise, you're cheering to have them killed like half the characters or most of the characters in Friday 4, which is a great example of that, right?
Yeah.
And Friday 6, I mean, it's not even so much that the characters deserve it outside of maybe 2 or 3 of them. So you're not really rooting for it per se, but it's just, like I said, it's just that Jason happens to stumble upon them. And it's the humorous way that Tom really made the movie work.
Yeah.
Without seeing it, you have to kind of see it to get, it's a very tongue-in-cheek set. Like you literally get the opening shot of Jason coming out and doing the 007 take.
Yeah. The third eye with the...
With the machete instead of the gun, yeah.
And it's go ahead.
I'd like my headcanon is that when he was lost for all those years in the woods, he is actually at ninja school learning how to be learning how to be silent and deadly.
He met some old guy on the other side of the lake, like Mr. Miyagi.
I know 1,000 ways to kill a man. Like I can do it.
A blind guy who can't see him, so he's just teaching him karate.
I can do it quietly, even though he's big. He's like, oh, tiptoe. Like,
and breathing, very important.
Yeah, he's got an old man Miyagi teaching him how to be a great killer. I don't know. That's my headcanon. Go ahead. That's my headcanon.
Nah, I'm done with Friday now. I think we had our
I think
spurg out on that.
Yeah, we talked all right.
Yeah, actually, I gotta go. My uncle and aunt are back, and they need me to help work the Blu-ray player. So,
oh Lord,
good luck.
Take care.
We'll be back. Well, I don't. If I can come back, I will. But I don't have any more movies, so we'll see.
All right.
Yep.
See you later.
Yep.
All right.
All right. So who wants to go next?
I'll go next. Like I said, my other than the Friday 13th, what I watched was not the greatest. I kind of watched what do you call it, junk. Not that it's just whatever. I got The Island from Michael Bay.
Oh.
Yeah, I know it's a shitty movie. Yeah. I know it is a shitty movie, and it is a shitty movie. But there's something about it that I just have fun with and just laugh my ass off at it, and that's really the only reason I watched it.
I've never seen it.
Oh, you never?
The only thing I know about it is that I think that's the one that they got sued over for stealing the script, if I remember right.
Oh, really? That one I didn't know.
If that's the one I'm thinking of.
This is one where it's Ewan McGregor and Scarlett Johansson. They're basically clones.
Yeah, I think that's the one.
Yeah. So it's It takes place in this little because the island. They ripped it off of the movie called The Island. Has a very similar plot. I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, so back in 2005, lawsuit claimed that the island is a clone.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate the movie. I know it's not a great movie. I know that. I know it's a Michael. This is like what we talk about where Michael Bay became Michael Bay. This is Michael Bay, right? And I don't hate the movie, but I know the movie is not a good movie, if you know what I mean. But it's a good bad movie to watch. Essentially, it's just like this is a bunch of these people living in this little island like area where a lottery happens daily, and if you win the lottery, you get to leave because they're told like the world outside was like there was apocalypse or something, and then like they're the last remaining people, and if you win the lottery, you get to go out into the real world and help repopulate or something like that. Whatever. But it turns out all these people are just clones of rich, famous people, and if they get into an accident or get hurt, when you win the lottery, basically you're winning the lottery to be killed, to have your organs and body parts harvested for the rich celeb or president or whatever that needs your body parts. And so Ewan McGregor and Scarlett Johansson end up escaping with the help of Steve Buscemi, and they figure this all out once they get out into the real world, and they end up fighting fighting Ewan McGregor's person and everything, and like trying to escape and all this. That's basically the extent of the movie. It's goofy, it's over the top, and actually one of the car chases in the movie where like they're on the expressway and like the big old pipes are coming off, he actually repurposed that scene in the first Transformers movie. It's literally shot for shot the same scene. He just CGI'd it over everything and made it Transformers. So he just repurposed it. But yeah, that's the movie. I just had a hankering to watch that. Yes, ScarJo is very, very actually very hot in this movie. And but yeah, body bakes RS. It's a crazy movie. It's very Michael Bay. It's very over the top. It's actually quite a weird movie, I want to say, but I mean, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. I get it. So that's about all I got to say about that one. So yeah.
No, I wish I'd seen it so I could add more to it, but it's probably going to be the same problem we have with the movie I have next too. Although you're more aware of this, and you might actually have something to add to this one. Because you actually showed me that the 3-disc version is coming out in a standard standalone edition, because I didn't chuck down the $100-some on the very special edition of this one.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I spent an extra $15 on a movie that if I want the other extras to go with it in a few months, I have to pay more for. But I actually kind of thoroughly enjoyed Primevals. For those who don't know, this is a very historic film. What it's about and why it exists are two very separate stories, but we'll get to that in a moment here. I guess start with what the movie is about. The movie is basically a mix between like The Lost World meets King Kong meets just about every Ray Harryhausen dinosaur type movie you could think of from the 50s and 60s and so on. Fantasy like type movie. All kinds of stop motion animation and creatures and such. But what the thing is with this movie, for those who don't know, it was actually a long time passion project of David Allen. Now, you may not know the name, but you know the guy's work. He worked most famously on Batteries Not Included and Puppet Master. Now, that would be his connection. He's had a connection to Charlie Band for a long time, but of course you probably recognize Puppet Master being a Full Moon Features film. And Charlie actually had been trying to help get this movie made for about 20 plus years or so. So the movie actually came up as a concept from a bunch of old school special effects guys in the industry who were basically like the students of Ray Harryhausen, let's say. Yeah. The next generation of or whatever. And basically this concept just kind of sat around and collected dust for years as Charlie Band tried to get enough money together to get it done. And finally he found his opportunity when, he had the Paramount deal with Full Moon in the 90s. Yep. In the late 80s and early 90s. And this was probably, I think without a doubt, Full Moon's most ambitious project they ever did. And sadly, they never got to finish because David Allen sadly passed away of cancer not too long after they finished principal photography and just got started on special effects, I meant.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and my understanding is he only got to do about 10% of the special effects. So I don't know exactly what effects in here are his and what are the newer effects. But what happened is he entrusted it to obviously Charlie and one of his proteges to finish eventually. And they did a crowd campaign a few years back. They finished the film. And needless to say, it's a lot of fun. It feels like an old school, definitely paying homage to the 50s, 60s Ray Harryhausen, even King Kong. It's like it's got a heavy influence of those things. What's funny is this movie would have come out right around the same time as Jurassic Park.
That's interesting. Yeah.
So it would have been one of the last films to use. It technically is now one of the last movies to use
like stop
motion special effects of that era. Now up until recently, when like Beetlejuice, and some other ones have, but and you've had other animated films since, like Nightmare Before Christmas and whatnot. But that being said, no, it's and the effects are really well done. Now the scans vary in the quality. I don't know if they had various sources for this. I don't know if they had the negative for everything or what the deal was. Because some shots look amazing. Some shots look like they're from a second or third generation print.
Yeah.
Some of the special effects shots I think they were all shot on film. But I think some of them were scanned years ago, and then some of them are newer scan, because like you're getting kind of a mixed bag of, because I can tell when something's an older scan by how it looks, because you get these lines, certain specific lines, and I guess you could call them scan lines of a sort, because they are like ones on a TV, but instead of being sideways, they're up and down. But no, like I think anybody who loves the stop motion films from back in the day, the Ray Harryhausen movies, don't go into this expecting like, some grand story that it plays out exactly just about like any of these other kind of classic stories, but it has some twists, right? It does meld the sci-fi with the dinosaurs kind of thing, right? If that makes sense. Yeah. So there's all kinds of neat stuff in here. It does lull in some parts story-wise. I mean, the acting is basic Full Moon acting, but it's really weird because it's like we were getting a brand new Full Moon movie, even though Full Moon's still technically around. You and I both can admit that their new movies don't feel and look exactly like their old stuff.
They don't.
This, on the other hand, it's like weird because it was like a bit of weird nostalgia getting a brand new, Full Moon movie 30 years after the fact.
Yeah, and it feels like one of those, like around Puppet Master era.
Exactly.
Stuff. Yeah.
You can tell it was shot in the 90s. I mean, everybody's hair and clothes. All that kind of crap.
Yeah. From talking to Brooks, who works over there, my friend, I think he said they actually thought it had been lost at one point, and then they found it.
That's why I wonder if they didn't have all of it. Yeah, because you can tell some shots. And I mean, some of these might come from an older scan that they had on hand that they just couldn't find those elements for anymore. That's what I'm willing to give them the excuse for whatever it was. Yeah. Right? Because you could tell this movie was very much, considering how good it looks for how cobbled together it kind of is, I'm amazed. Now, the other discs that are supposed to come with it, I think have bonus features, and then it has the other one has like a more extended version of the film with storyboards and stuff that they didn't get all the finished product for. So that I haven't seen. I can't comment on any of that. I don't know if it's worth it, but that version's coming out in January for a standalone version instead of the $120-some box set thing it was.
That's what I figured out. Probably wait and just buy that when I get, to watch it when I get it.
I probably will upgrade. Yeah. I wonder if they'll do a 4K version though. Because it almost looks like some of this was scanned in 4K. I could be wrong though.
I mean, you could be right, but like I know, like I said, I know they said from Brooks, he said they thought they had lost it, and then they found it when they were cleaning out the office one time, and they did do some shoots. Like Brooks is actually in the movie as a caveman. We're just like trying to sort of fighting the.
Yeah, I don't know how much they had to reshoot or fill in.
Yeah, they filled in some stuff. They reshot some stuff, and so yeah.
Because unfortunately, I don't have anything to. Maybe this does have a commentary on it. No, it doesn't. So yeah. It gives you nothing to really kind of know all this, but besides what's on the back.
Yeah. So
and I know most of this stuff because of you, actually. So I'll give you full credit on this.
There you go. Yeah, I mean it's an interesting story to know, and like you said, it's something special to have a full moon movie like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the new full moon stuff. I just got to see their new movie, which I put a review up on my channel. Plug for me, go check it out. Which I loved it, but it feels like full moon, but it still feels like a new movie. Whereas like I get what you're saying about the Primevals from what I know of it, what I've seen of it, it does feel like a old school full moon movies from the 90s. So yeah, it's fun. It's fun. I'm looking forward to getting the big set, the new set when I get it back in January. So
I'd show the trailer, but the funny thing is, and this is what's weird because I've actually interviewed Richard Brandon. Someday you guys might actually get to hear that interview.
Oh,
it's his music that gets claimed, and that's it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And because he gave me full permission back. I didn't think he nailed anybody for his music because, like, I asked him back in the day, I'm like, do you mind if we use some of your music for the interviews? Like, no problem.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah. So, I don't know.
It's
unless it's
weird.
Full Moon doing it, could just be Full Moon themselves.
It could be but usually, I mean, like I use their stuff all the time, and I don't usually get claimed.
But I actually have it on audio, so when I do it, if they want to nail me, I'll be like, no, I got proof. He said I could use it.
Yeah, so see here. But yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it, and
I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
it's very much very heavily influenced by King Kong and the Lost World, or whatever you want to call it, where you got like this expedition of people, basically, kind of thing, looking for overgrown Yeti, basically, who looks a lot like King Kong, moves a lot like King Kong.
Yeah.
But there's more to the story than that. I mean, I'm not going to spoil it because it's fun. Don't expect, like I said, some, major new discovery or something like that.
Yeah.
Though.
I mean, if you're a fan of full moon movies,
yeah,
you know what to expect. Like, cause like that's what I worry about on some of my reviews when it's like, cause I love their movies and I praise them a lot, but I don't think I get across the point that this is not like Beetlejuice, like you brought. It's not like a Beetlejuice movie where it was massive money, big stars, and everything. This is a low budget B movie. The acting's not going to be like the greatest and everything, but you're probably going to have a good time with it if you can enjoy a full moon, a movie like that. So that's what, and I love those type of movies. I do. And you're right. The 90s feeling can't be in some movies. And I love the fact that Charles Band himself is sort of still stuck in the 90s, and that comes through in all of his new movies because he's still out there and he's still like very 90s trope type movies and everything, even to this day, even when he's trying to make it a little more modern, still feels like a very 90s type movie. But I am looking forward to getting Primeval. So I'm very interested to see it, to get it all together. So yeah, you're
so chummy with them. I'm kind of surprised they didn't send you
I'm surprised too. I wish they would have. But I have gotten this. They do send me all their new movies, so
that's cool.
I'm happy about that. So, yeah.
All right. Well, what else you got?
All right. My final pick of the night. I went back to a good old DVD because this movie is only available on DVD. Grandma's Boy. So I don't know if you've seen, if you like it or not.
Years ago, it's not too bad. It's all right.
It's a fun movie. It's fun. It's hilarious. I was watching it, and it's from 2006, and I just think to myself, 18 years, and we've changed that much, because like the jokes that they get away with, the stuff they say in this movie, and the stuff they do in this movie, you would not see that on any movie today, any comedy today, and it's mind-boggling how much we have changed in 18 years. I can't believe it. I honestly can't believe it. But no, it's a fun movie. It's probably one of the better Adam Sandler movies that doesn't feature Adam Sandler, to be honest with you. It's a stoner comedy. It's about this guy who works for a gaming company, and he's a game tester, and he's like the oldest game tester. He's 35. His roommate doesn't pay their rent. He actually spends it on Filipino hookers, and they get kicked out of their apartment. And so he goes and lives with his grandma, and he's trying to get this new game done. And Linda Cardellini comes in, and she's his boss. And they have a thing going on, and it's like this weird workplace thing, and like jokes are flying, and it's this, they get stoned and they play video games. So that's pretty much the movie. And according to Nick Swartzen, who's in this movie, he said the CEO of Blockbuster told him that this was one of the most stolen movies from Blockbuster. People would rent it and never return it and keep it. It was one of the most stolen movies from Blockbuster. So, that's that. I find that funny. I find that very funny that was. And
so it was the new Clerks.
Yeah. Was the new part 2 was one of the stolen movies too?
Well, no, Clerks 1 was one of the most stolen.
Oh, Clerks 1 was
unreturned videotapes or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. So I guess so. Yeah, it was one of the most stolen along the lines of that. But I really enjoyed it. I had fun with it. I had not seen it in probably a good 10 years myself. And I forgot Jonah Hill's even in this movie. It doesn't even look like fucking Jonah Hill. It's like a completely different person. It's insane to see Jonah Hill of then and Jonah Hill of now. It's crazy. It's crazy, but it was a fun movie, and you'll probably never get it on Blu-ray because it's a 20th Century Fox movie. Disney now owns it, and I would assume that's probably why we've never got a Blu-ray of it. I'd have to go into it further, but yeah, I don't think you'll probably ever get a Blu-ray of it unless somehow Disney lets Sony put it out with the new Sony deal that they got, which I don't think they're going to do that with the Fox title. Who knows? Maybe. But it's a fun movie. I mean, it's just to see like Xbox, the original Xbox game, and because that's what the system they're playing on is the original Xbox, and it's crazy, and it was fun, and just to see like some of the quotes are just incredible. The one guy that what's his name? Joel David Moore, I think his name is his real name. He plays the guy that they like the young video game savant who created like one of the best games ever. And he's like wears all black like the Matrix, and he's skinny, and he's always talking in a robot voice and stuff. Oh man, he's great. There's this one scene where he's just like standing up against the wall, with his coat up over his head, and he's just standing on the wall. The Grandma's Boy guy kind of comes out, and he's like, "What are you doing there? What are you?" And he's like talking to him, and he goes, "You're fucking weird." And he walks away, and the guy's like, "How can he see me?" And I just like lost it. I don't know why I just lost it. I think it's hilarious. I think the movie is fun. It's just a great, fun, classic movie.
I remember it being kind of fun. Surprisingly fun.
Yeah, I mean,
the Happy Madison movies, surprisingly, the ones without Adam Sandler, in some cases, were better than some of the shit he was putting out at that time.
Right? Period. It kind of was. That's what I said. It's like one of the funniest Adam Sandler movies without Adam Sandler, and it's got all this cast of people in it. David Spade's in it, Rob Schneider's in it. What's his name? Kevin Nealon's in it. So like, it's got all those people in it, and it's just funny. It's funny.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a few years since I've seen it, so I can't really comment too much on it, but yeah. Yeah, but I remember it being pretty popular when it came out on video, yeah.
It's a good time. It's a good time. I laughed. To be honest, I haven't seen a really good comedy lately, and that's typically why I don't bring on comedies, because I just haven't seen them other than like the good old classic ones that we always talk about.
Right.
And so I was watching that, and I just had a good time laughing at it. It was just funny. I just generally belly laughed at scenes that I couldn't even imagine being shown today. Like when they go to a vegan restaurant, and David Spade is the guy, and his name's Shiloh, and like they call him Guy Blow, and they go, "Oh, he means it's gay." Like they're saying jokes like that, like you would say nowadays, and I'm just like, what happened to this form of comedy? I mean, sometimes you got to just take chances, be a little offensive, and see if the joke lands. But anyways, that's all I got for it. That's all I got for it. And also, what happened to Nick Swartzen? my God, he was so like skinny and young in that movie, and then you see him now, and he's like, you wouldn't even think it's the same person himself as well. Same with like I mentioned, Jonah Hill. You wouldn't even know they're the same damn people. It's insane. Yeah, yeah. He's like, even though the food may be weird, but it's really good for you. It's really healthy. We don't put no grease or fat in it. And he's like, can we pay you extra to put some grease and fat in it? It's great. It's good. I don't know. It's not fun with it. But anyways, what do you got? What's your final pick of the night for us here?
Well, the reason I don't have as many movies as I normally would have is because I've spent a lot of time with this film this week.
Oh, nice.
The original 1922 Nosferatu. And yeah, it's a classic. This is a pretty decent release. If I could talk, man, Jesus Christ. There's a pretty decent release from Kino Lorber. It has both the German and English version, basically just the title cards are differently or different. Yeah. It's not even subtitle because it's a silent film. There's title cards. So yeah, no, and it has a nice 50-some minute documentary on F.W. Murnau, and other than that, not a lot of special features, but the documentary does take you through a lot of the making of the film as far as where it was shot and all that kind of stuff. And the fact that we have this movie in this complete of a version available today says a lot, considering the age and the fact that the original negatives and everything were destroyed in most versions and most prints of the movie were thought to be destroyed. Because for those who may not actually know the story about this, they made this movie. They gave credit to Bram Stoker for his novel, but they didn't pay for it.
Yeah.
Because for those who don't know, Nosferatu is basically just a German version of Dracula.
Yep.
Now, F.W. Murnau, though, thought as long as I change the names, change a few of the story elements, we'll be fine. Now, they got sued by Bram Stoker's widow.
Yeah.
And part of the penalty was they had to destroy the film. So luckily, some folks saved what they could of the film to this day. In this print that I know of, I think is made up of at least 2 or 3 prints that were out there. So this is the most complete version, although I don't think it's the complete version. I think it's still missing somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes, I think, like that, but I'm not 100% sure that they've either just been damaged or lost and or parts of other cuts that didn't make it out there. Because as it was sent across here and there, I think they cut it down for the English American version and such and stuff like that. So, and I think that's one of the versions that's still available, and I believe the other one I think it was a German print. So, either way, the film is originally German. It's a great film. It's actually a really well done adaptation of Dracula, to be honest with you, and in some ways is more faithful than the Bela Lugosi film, and in some ways is superior. I know that maybe.
You're not wrong.
I mean, look, Max Schreck is Count Orlok. I mean,
he's pretty scary.
He's his own vampire in his own way, which is kind of weird about, like, you know, the whole thing is like, yeah, it is pretty much the same story, but Orlok is approached so different from what Dracula is approached in the films and what we know of Dracula now. Now, I like how basically since then, this has also informed many of the versions that have come since. I love how in Bram Stoker's Dracula, the Coppola film, you know, you kind of have somewhat of the Nosferatu thing going on there. I don't know if he did it on purpose or if it was subconscious, but I definitely feel like, you know, when he's the older, decrepit Dracula, it's definitely got some Nosferatu vibes going for it. Yeah. And another film that's related to this that has never been released on Blu-ray and is a fucking tragedy is Shadow of the Vampire. And for those who don't know what that is, check it out if you get a chance to find it. Yes. It is an excellent film. Now, it's not historically accurate, but it's a funny what if kind of story.
It's good.
And I don't even want to spoil it. Like, it's got Willem Dafoe in it. It's got John Malkovich. That's all you need to know. Older Universal film from the 2000s. Has never made its way to Blu-ray yet. But Kino, if you're listening, get it on. Yeah, I can't believe Kino hasn't done a version of it yet where it comes with this. Like, I would think that'd be the perfect movie that they would release and then have this as the bonus.
That would have been great.
Like they did with 12 Angry Men. Like, are you listening, Kino? Do a 4K of Shadow of the Vampire. Put this as a bonus disc. People will love it. Trust me. Trust me on this one.
I guarantee. That's a shame. Who owns the rights to that movie, though? Like, the real...
Nosferatu is public domain.
No, Shadow of the Vampire.
Oh, Shadow of the Vampire is Universal, I think. At least that's who released it. I'm not sure if maybe it's some other sub company that produced it. That might be why it's hung up in some limbo. I think it's been on cable, so there's like a really crappy HD version roaming around that's just plain 2.0 stereo, which really sucks, because one of the things I remember about that movie when it came out, it was one of the first ones to have DTS soundtrack on it, because I remember I have the DVD still.
Yeah.
But it's just never been released on Blu-ray, and I don't know why.
It's insane that was, but no. I actually was thinking about watching Nosferatu and the other Nosferatu with the sort of the remake, the German one.
Oh, actually, no. This does predate it, Scott. You're not wrong. If I worded that incorrectly or made it sound differently, no. What I meant is it's superior in a lot of ways. That's what I meant. But no, actually, it predates Lugosi's by almost a decade.
Yeah. It's a good. It's a good one. I like it. It is still very creepy to this day. I mean, for the type of movie it is, like, oh, it's a black, like people say, oh, it's a black and white movie. Watch the movie, dude. It's still pretty damn creepy. With even just like the music and like the like you said, the title cards that come up, and like even some of the symbols in that what is it that they have in the beginning? Is it in the beginning, if I remember, like the thing he's reading or whatever? Some of the symbols on that are actually legitimately witchcraft symbols and stuff.
It's funny you mentioned that, because like there's a few people involved in this movie who eventually went on to get into heavy duty witchcraft shit and other things, and then cults and stuff.
So there's like a real type thing to it.
No, this movie gives you the heebie-jeebies in a weird way.
It does.
And especially when you hear some of the rumors about Max Schreck and all that stuff, and about how it's hard to find him in any other films, which he did do other films, but it's very difficult to find them. And the rumors about it, which fed into the whole thing with Shadow of the Vampire. Mm-hmm. And I guess Lionsgate, that's right. It was a Lionsgate film before Lionsgate did their own distribution. That might be what's holding it up.
Oh, I was wondering.
So Universal released it domestically, but it was a Lionsgate film before Lionsgate did their own releases in the U.S. So what was that question? Sorry, what was on screen?
Oh, it was Max Schreck of Vampires. What you were talking about.
Yes, that's what basically, I didn't want to spoil it, but like Shadow of the Vampire leans into that urban legend. Yeah.
But
why did you eat my camera person? Why didn't you eat somebody who didn't matter? Like the script girl. I'll eat her later.
Great. I love it. Have you seen the other Nosferatu movie, the other remake of it?
I'm in the process of. That'll be next week.
Klaus Kinski.
Yeah, actually, I have both of Klaus Kinski's. Well, I have the
it's Nosferatu and the Nosferatu of Venice, right?
Yeah, it's quasi sequel of sorts, but
yeah, insane.
No real relation otherwise, but
yeah. I saw that. I saw you sent me that one thing from Midnight's Edge too with the.
Well, actually, it's funny you bring that up, because I was going to show that off here real quick. If you
go ahead.
Didn't mind. Because for Halloween celebration, I've been kind of soft teasing this and telling people about it and showing people stuff for a while. So this is an early cut of the trailer, basically. But here's a project that we're working on over at Midnight's Edge. Let me bring it up here. I gotta go in through the studio. It's not private, or not private, but unlisted.
I literally was just thinking about. I'm starting to get into the Halloween. It's in September, so I'm trying to hold back a little bit, but I'm really wanting to break into some horror movies, which I'm probably going to start doing that soon, because if I don't get them watched, I won't get them all watched by the end of October. So.
Well, that's kind of why we're working on this now. So yeah. So to go along with this, we're going to be doing a retrospective, and I can't say much more than that. But here, check this out, guys. This is what we're working on. So there you go, guys. Yeah,
That is
we're
cool.
not gonna mess with the movie itself per se. We're just doing I wrote an original new soundtrack to the film, and so we have new music, and we're also I'm adding in some atmosphere and sound effects. Andre might do some narration for just the title cards. We're not going to mess with the dialogue or anything like that. It's still going to be a silent film. So like
That's
the actual
cool.
film itself, we're not messing with. So yeah,
That's pretty cool. I dug it. I'm
and
excited.
we may even be working on putting out some Blu-ray. I don't know. We'll talk about it.
Nice.
But yeah, so stay tuned,
Nice.
kids. We're talking a lot of stuff on this. We're kind of excited for it, and I've even got I'm getting the soundtrack put together and everything and stuff like that. So
That is awesome. I look forward to that. Look, it's funny because like vampires is sort of a thing. Like I said, I just watched a new Full Moon movie called Death Streamer, which is about a vampire, and it's very much pays homage to like Dracula, the Bela Lugosi one, with the fact that the vampire is played very much like a classic monster vampire set in the modern world with like streaming and technology and all that. But I'm looking forward to that. That looks great. That's cool. I love that, and that makes me want to watch that Nosferatu again because I see where does it says Hollyfield says I watch comedic horror such season. I typically watch stuff like this, like Nosferatu or the Universal Monsters. That's how it gets my juices flowing because I like the classics, and then I work my way into like the 80s and like the comedic horrors and all that. I really get into that stuff like that as the season goes.
But yeah, obviously it's a big undertaking, so we've been working on it for a little while. I've spent I don't know how many hours working on the soundtrack. So yeah, we're still not even done with it yet. We still got some work to go on it. We haven't even officially done the launch for it yet. I'm in soft, basically doing this for a bit.
Like
so
soft
once
launching it. Yeah.
kind of. So like yeah. So I know there's probably a lot of questions. Where's it going to be? Yes, we're going to probably do a watch party. It will be available on YouTube. But as you know, I mean, YouTube compresses the ever-loving shit out of video.
Yeah.
So I even watched a version of it I put up on YouTube just to see how badly it was compressed. And that's where Andre and I very much made the decision that, yeah, we're definitely going to try and make a way for it to be available for everybody. But we also have to find out how much it's going to cost for us to be able to do that in a physical form. So more on that as we move along. But yeah, this will be attached to some other fun announcements as the few next week or two come along here.
That's exciting. It's exciting. I'm glad to hear that. I'm kind of interested to see the new Robert Eggers Nosferatu.
Me too. I'm looking forward to that. It's one of the few movies I'm still looking forward to this year.
Yeah, I kind of wish it would have opened in October, but I'm fine with it opening in December.
Yeah.
It looks good. It was surprised. The trailer was surprisingly great, and I like that they didn't show him in the trailer. I like that they pulled back and kept some stuff secret. So
yeah. I'll tell you, after the project I've been working on here, it's almost like I'm thinking like maybe I should do Nosferatu the musical. I'll tell you what, I've written enough music for it now. Yeah, because I even got ambitious on some other things that I'll talk about later at a later time. But no, like, yeah. So I've been taking a deep dive into this movie for the last week and a half, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. So
cool.
Yeah, I finally just brought it on and thought I'd talk about it a little bit. And good one to kick off the holiday season. You can actually find it online. It is public domain. But the quality will vary depending on where you find it. So
I mean, and if you do want it on physical, like Tom said, Kino released a hell of a Blu-ray.
Yeah, that's what I got here. Yeah.
It looks pretty good. It's probably the best.
This is a basis for our version we're using. So that's the best scan out there.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's probably the best scan you'll find of it. But no, now you got me.
I believe it's the same scan that's from the foreign release as well, because Andre has the foreign release, and I think it's the same one. So.
No. But now you got me. Now you got me in the damn mood for Halloween and like more scary movies and stuff like that.
Well, just a quick preview of the remake, because I didn't talk too much about that because I'm going to probably bring that next week. But the only problem I have with the remake is I wish they would have just stuck with the names.
Mm-hmm.
The original, that they, I don't have a problem with that. Like, because like the remake almost feels weirdly like a hybrid of Dracula and Nosferatu. It's like, yes, it's taking the look, the feel, the approach of Nosferatu, but we're just going to literally throw in the same names, and they even have like the listen to them, the children of the night, the music they make, line, all that kind of, like, it's like It's like I kind of like that he's Count Orlok and not Dracula, right? It differentiates him enough to where I don't have a problem with that. Sure, it's the same fucking story. How many different ways can you tell Frankenstein's story too, right?
Right.
I like it because it's kind of like the heavy metal version of Dracula, right? And that's kind of how I'm approaching my music. So if that helps at all. I mean, yes, it does have a traditional kind of feel to it as far as like, a silent film in some bits. Once the movie gets going, you'll notice themes that I keep using, and they just keep ramping up into more and more heavier. Like, to me, I don't know, the visceral experience I had watching it with my new soundtrack in its entirety was really engrossing to me. I hope it's going to be as engrossing as it is to you guys. Because, yeah, the original soundtrack is great. I'm not trying to knock it at all. It's one of those few silent films that does actually still have its existing music that was scored for the film.
Yeah. So
I'm not trying to stamp on or do anything against it at all. But I do feel like the music that I put to it, the way I constructed it, it was like, it makes the experience to me just so fucking heavy metal. Like, that's the best way I can put it. And so I know people like Robert Meyer Burnett were really going to probably dig on this. I already sent him the trailer too. And he's like, oh, that's bitching. And I don't even think he still has any clue of what's to come with this. Cause like, yeah, the music is just amazing. I love it. I didn't step over the line, I hope. Like, hopefully nobody's gonna like, you guys reimagine this too far. And I hope you all just agree that the way that the music ramps up throughout the film, the way that the sound effects add to the atmosphere, that this is a much better experience than you've ever probably had with this film before. Or if it's your first experience, may it not spoil the original for you. I don't want to oversell it though, so yeah.
No, it sounds great. I'm excited to see it because I like it. Like you said though, it's like I love Bela Lugosi's Dracula. I love the Universal Monster version, but Nosferatu is a much scarier film. Like whereas like the Universal Dracula movie, yes, it was considered scary at the time, but Nosferatu is still legitimately scary to this day.
It don't pull no punches, really. Yeah, I mean, it's not like viscerally horrible or anything. It's just the way
it's just like creepy and
the German expressionism in it, and the way it's shot, and just Count Orlok himself, the way he, like, it makes you wonder about the guy.
Yeah, it does. He's kind of
a little too casual and easy at this. I don't know.
He can do it very well, very well. No, I'm excited to see what you. I'm glad you guys are doing that. I'm excited to see that for Halloween and everything.
And in some ways, it is kind of my more. I actually kind of prefer the look of Nosferatu's Dracula or Orlok than I do the traditional quote unquote Dracula that we see as Bela Lugosi. Like, I love Bella's. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But just that creepy, gangly, pale-faced, bald. It just evokes, and the way he's got his teeth compared to the normal fangs and stuff are more like bats, like the vampire bats and stuff like that. Just the way their teeth are. So like, it just, there's something about that, and it's always been an unsettling image when you see it, even as a kid, right? Yeah, like you would see it somewhere. Even when I would see the old public domain VHSs of it back in the day, it would be one of those movies I'd be like, just like whenever I'd see it as a little kid,
Yeah.
It's just that face. It's just like the way he stares right through you. Yeah.
I mean,
and they always have that old famous fucking image of him for the VHS. Let me see if I can find it here.
Oh yeah. It is one of those. It's one of those like where like we talk about cover art from the 80s of horror movies where you would see it and you would be scared of it and maybe you wouldn't rent the movie because of the cover art. That legitimately has a cover art and a creepiness to it on that level.
Well, it's weird. Is it's even from the original era, if I remember correctly, and it's just the way it's just an image of his face. Here it is, right here. Okay, cool. Well, Kino actually used it once, but this is from a Kino cover. But yeah, I remember a lot of the VHSs uses this image.
Oh yeah,
and just this for some reason, just as a kid, got to me. I don't know why.
It does invoke scary thoughts.
Just the way he's looking at you and shit.
Yeah,
it's
very much like like the expressionist and everything.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, just as a shadow alone, and you could tell, like, I mean, I think even Robert Englund gave some credit to Max Schreck's Nosferatu for, like, kind of the way the posing with Freddy.
Yep.
And the kind of how he, you know, just the use of shadow. And I mean, it is just kind of ingenious at how they put this film together in comparison. And again, I don't want to feel like I'm bashing the Lugosi one, because it is what it is for what it is. But it ain't this, right?
Yeah.
This was shit that, like, if we saw this as kids, would probably give us fucking nightmares.
Yeah. It's true.
And it's not like it's bloody or anything like that. It's just the fucking way Orlok looks. And the way that the film portrays him, and the shots that, and we've all seen all of the stuff. You've seen it all out there, and all the. I mean, it's not like Orlok is all throughout the film. He's only got, like, what, 3-4 major sequences?
Yep.
Because just like with Dracula, he doesn't even come in until half hour or so into the movie. And, I mean, well, the original Dracula, it's a little sooner, but because that's an hour and, 20-minute movie. But
yeah, like hour
this thing's
10,
95. Yeah, they're even shorter. You're right. Like, this is 95 minutes. But, I mean, it uses... That's the thing, is it's shot in a way in Germany where they used so many real locations that still somewhat exist. The real castles there. Even the castle at the end was just like a happenstance that when they were out doing whatever, and they saw the castle ruins and they used it at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, just all the shit that they were able to utilize production wise for that time period. Cause this is pre-war. See, that's the other thing too, is even had this movie not had the history it has, we would have known if it never would have survived the fucking war. Right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the other thing too. So it's a miracle that it happened to do that too on top of it all. Because I know that's part of the problem with Metropolis, if I'm not mistaken, is that a lot of it was lost during that situation. So, like, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyhow, that being said, I think we've rounded this out pretty well for a entire show. 2 hours ain't bad.
No, they ain't bad. And good night, Dragazella. Thanks for hanging with us tonight. But no, now you've got me all excited because, to be honest with you, probably starting from next week on out, it's going to be mostly horror movies from me. I'm sure. I mean, I'm probably slipping a couple because there's one movie I plan on watching that's not a horror movie that I slip in. But yeah, I'm in the mood now. It's solidified it even more. I'm going to probably start branching into my horror movies and stuff. And if I can get some of the newer films, I haven't had a chance to buy a lot of new stuff lately. So that's, you know, I got to get some newer stuff in, and we're approaching the season, and it's time, guys. It's time. So, all right. I look forward to your Midnight's Edge symphony of Nosferatu and what you guys had planned. And I thank you, Tom. Thank you, Rook, even though you're home. I wonder if you ever helped his family with the Blu-ray player. So we'll have to figure that one out. But thank you guys, everybody in the chat, for hanging with us, and everybody at home watching. As always, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. And thank you, guys.
How you doing? Bitches leave.